Уважаемые дамы и господа,
Ladies and gentlemen, the talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Mr. Retno Marsudi, were held in the traditionally trusting, open, friendly, and constructive spirit. We once again noted the fact that in February of this year, we marked the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Russia and Indonesia. These relations are developing quite dynamically. A regular and trusting political dialogue has been established at the highest and high levels. There is a systematic interparliamentary exchange. Today, we expressed mutual interest in establishing inter-party cooperation. Similar to the way we interact on a party level with some of our neighbors and other countries, so that the ruling parties of Russia and Indonesia may enrich the formats that characterize our strategic partnership. We held detailed discussions on both the bilateral agenda and on regional and international affairs. We share a common interest in cooperation in defense and security, including information security, and in the law enforcement sphere, such as combating cybercrime, illegal drug trafficking, and extremism. We express support for strengthening the legal framework of our cooperation. We noted the growing cooperation through joint exercises of the Russian and Indonesian naval forces. As always, Russia is ready, taking into account existing experience, to consider the wishes of our Indonesian friends in the sphere of military technical cooperation. We agreed that the growth of trade turnover needs to be sustained. Although it's impressive, almost $4.5 billion, it still doesn't reflect the full potential of our two countries. We discussed the importance of implementing agreements reached in April of this year during the 13th session of the Intergovernmental Joint Commission on Trade and Economic Cooperation. We emphasized readiness to expand exports of Russian products to the Indonesian market, including energy resources, agricultural products, fertilizers, and other goods. Beyond trade, we share a mutual intention to implement joint investment projects, primarily in the fuel and energy sector, but also in other areas, including high-tech industries. Indonesia is planning to develop its national nuclear energy program, and Rosatom is ready to join in the construction of a nuclear power plant. We also see promising potential in the non-energy applications of nuclear technology, where Rosatom has deep expertise. There's clear interest from our Indonesian friends in peaceful space cooperation, including personnel training, joint satellite development, and other areas of collaboration. To deepen our economic cooperation further, it is important to conclude a free trade agreement between Indonesia and the Eurasian Economic Union. The agreement is almost finalized, and we expect it to be signed soon. We also discussed cooperation that has developed over decades and is highly valued by our citizens, especially in the areas of science, education, and training. We will continue to provide Indonesian citizens with opportunities to study civilian specialties at Russian universities funded by the federal budget, and we are ready to increase quotas if needed. We are also prepared to support the growing interest of Indonesians in studying the Russian language. We already have experience in this area and will continue to develop it. Special attention was given to ensuring unhindered access to objective information for both Russian and Indonesian audiences about current events in our countries, the region, and the world. We agreed to support the establishment of contacts between leading media outlets in Russia and Indonesia. There are many interesting projects in this area. As you know, direct flights between Moscow and Denpasar resumed in September of last year. This has already increased the number of Russian tourists visiting Indonesia, particularly Bali, and in general helped strengthen transport connectivity, economic exchange, and people-to-people contact. Last year alone, 180,000 Russians visited Indonesia. Of course, this is not the limit, and we will be happy to welcome more Indonesian tourists to our country. The foreign ministries of both countries are working in close cooperation. We have a 3-year consultation plan, and these consultations are regularly held to great effect. At the level of deputy foreign ministers alone, there were 4 rounds of consultations last year, plus additional meetings at the department director level. These consultations help deepen our coordination in the UN, the G20, and other multilateral international platforms. Today, we noted the alignment or proximity of our positions on most major international issues, including the most urgent ones at this stage, namely the situation in the Middle East, on the Palestinian territories, and of course, the Israeli attack on the Islamic Republic of Iran. We stress the need for the international community to take all possible steps to de-escalate tensions and shift towards solving all issues at the negotiating table. We are pleased that Indonesia has joined BRICS as a full member and emphasized that our joint work in this framework will strengthen the principles of multipolarity in global politics and economics. We have a shared interest in seeing the Asia-Pacific region develop constructively, and we oppose attempts to bring confrontation into the region. In this context, Russia's relations with ASEAN are of great importance. We welcome Jakarta's willingness to promote the development of dialogue partnerships between Russia and ASEAN, especially as next year marks the 35th anniversary of this partnership. We drew our colleagues' attention to the initiatives that the Russian Federation, along with many other countries, is promoting to form an architecture of equal and indivisible security in Eurasia, an open framework for any country on the continent. This is in contrast to the schemes our Western colleagues promote under the banner of Indo-Pacific strategies. We thanked our friends for their balanced position on the conflict in Ukraine, for understanding the situation, and for recognizing the counterproductive nature of attempts to impose the Ukrainian agenda on any international structure or format. Our position remains unchanged. We were forced to launch the special military operation after more than a decade of Ukraine being drawn into NATO, following the coup in February 2014, which created direct threats to Russia's security at its borders. Furthermore, since the coup, the Ukrainian regime has pursued a policy of eradicating the Russian language, culture, and Orthodox religion, especially in southeastern Ukraine, violating the fundamental human rights enshrined in Article 1 of the UN Charter, which calls for respect for all individuals regardless of gender, race, language, or religion, the canonical Orthodox religion and Russian language are being persecuted by the Ukrainian regime through laws already passed. Yet the West remains silent. In summary, we had a very productive discussion. I am confident we have contributed meaningfully to the upcoming meeting between our presidents, which will take place soon in St. Petersburg. We hope they will endorse our further productive joint work.
Непосредственно на наших границах. Ну и, безусловно, то, как после госпереворота в феврале 2014 года украинский режим истреблял законодательно все русское образование, информационную сферу, культурную сферу. Это прямо било по правам, законным правам огромной части населения Украины, прежде всего юго-востока Украины, правам, закрепленным в первой статье Устава Организации Объединенных Наций, который требует от всех уважать права человека, независимо от пола, расы, языка и религии. И язык, и религию, православную в данном случае, каноническую, украинский режим истребляет. И соответствующие законы уже приняты. Но Запад, как говорится, набрал в рот воды. В целом я считаю, очень полезно поговорили. Я уверен, что мы внесли свой вклад в предстоящий контакт наших президентов, который должен состояться в Санкт-Петербурге на днях, и рассчитываем, что они нас благословят на дальнейшую продуктивную совместную работу.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. First of all, let me again thank you for the warm welcome extended to me and my delegation during our visit to Moscow. It is both an honor and a great pleasure to visit Russia once again. During my tenure, I have already visited Russia 3 times, once in Kazan and twice in Moscow. This demonstrates how important and strategic our relations with Russia truly are. During our meeting, we reviewed a wide range of issues. I thank Minister Lavrov for supporting Indonesia's candidacy for full BRICS membership. I would also like to congratulate the Russian people on Russia Day, which was celebrated on June 12th. My congratulations go to the people and government of the Russian Federation. This visit is also especially meaningful as we mark 75 years of Indonesia-Russia diplomatic relations. My visit to Moscow is timely as we are preparing for the official visit of President Prabowo Subianto to Russia, at the invitation of President Vladimir Putin. President Prabowo Subianto will visit St. Petersburg on June 20, 2025, and will meet with President Putin and participate in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, today's meeting was dedicated to a number of bilateral issues, as mentioned by Minister Lavrov. We are committed to strengthening our partnership and relations for the prosperity of our peoples. We agreed on the need to expand our cooperation in trade, investment, and the economy. There is untapped potential, and we must identify new opportunities to realize it. We also reaffirmed our commitment to implementing the outcomes of the 13th Intergovernmental Commission on Trade and Economic Cooperation, held in April 2025. On investment, I invite Russian companies to participate in strategic investment cooperation with Indonesian businesses.
Многие
As I mentioned, in February 2024, President Prabowo Subianto established Nusantara, Indonesia's sovereign wealth fund, which is now in place to partner with Russian investment agencies and businesses to realize this potential. There is also broad potential in renewable energy, technological safety, agriculture, AI development, and cyber technology.
дополнительные возможности.
We also discussed people-to-people exchanges. We would like to offer more opportunities for Indonesian students and officers to study in Russia and learn the Russian language. This also serves as a means of strengthening our bilateral ties. I'm pleased to say that this visit was very productive.
Была проведена в апреле 2025 года. Что касается инвестиций, также приглашаю российские компании участвовать в стратегическом инвестиционном сотрудничестве с бизнесом в Индонезии. Как я уже упоминал, в феврале 2024 года президент Прабово Субианто уже установил Данантара, это суверенный фонд благосостояния Индонезии, который будет функционировать в качестве средства для инвестиций. Он может устанавливать партнерство с российскими инвестиционными агентствами и бизнесом для того, чтобы воспользоваться тем потенциалом, который я уже упоминал. Есть также широкий круг возможного партнерства в том, что касается возобновляемых источников энергии, технической безопасности и сотрудничества в этой сфере, также сельскохозяйственная продукция, развитие искусственного интеллекта и кибертехнологий. Также упомяну обмены между людьми. Я уже говорила, что нам бы хотелось иметь больше возможностей для индонезийских студентов и офицеров, которые могли бы приезжать, учиться в России, учить русский язык. Это также является средством для укрепления сотрудничества и отношений между нашими народами. Я рад упомянуть, что этот визит был очень продуктивным. Мы получили целый ряд конкретных результатов в различных секторах. Мы успешно подытожили и также упомянули некоторые вопросы, которые находятся на последних стадиях согласования, и они будут подписаны в ходе грядущего визита президента Прабово Субианто. В заключение также хотел бы заверить вас в поддержке Индонезии в попытке преодоления и налаживания взаимодействия мы предлагаем помощь Индонезии, по сути, в снижении региональной напряженности также во всем мире. Мы хотели бы внести свой вклад в мирное разрешение ситуации, успокоение ситуации во многих регионах мира. Господин Лавров также упоминал развитие ситуации на Ближнем Востоке. Нам также необходимо отреагировать и на этот вопрос. Мы едины во мнении, что любая эскалация должна быть прекращена, и все противоречия должны решаться за столом переговоров. Снова хотел высказать нашу искреннюю благодарность господину Лаврову, а также правительству и народу России. Спасибо за теплый прием, оказанный мне и моей делегации. Ваше превосходительство, я надеюсь встречать вас в Джакарте. С удовольствием приеду. Спасибо.
Все?
Да. Спасибо большое, уважаемые коллеги. На этом пресс-конференция завершена.